In this video I'm going to build 3 unique LEGO clone bases in 3 days. So for each single day I'll spend long hours to build one complete creation. Future me here, it was a really bold idea, I'll tell you that. Let's start with day 1, where I'm planning to make something I haven't done before yet. I got an idea for a clone outpost in a form of a bunker, so that will be interesting. As for the minifigures of this creation I'm going to use Commander Cody in his Phase 2 clone armor, 1-12 Airborne Trooper, 1-12 P2 Recon Clone Trooper, and 2-12 P2 Clone Troopers. Let's start the building with this black frame for nicer aesthetic of all 3 creations. Now I'm making the border of the terrain where I place some smaller stones in between the ground and the clay. Next I'm building up the ground level with Technic parts, so I can start developing the landscape using mostly dark tan and medium nougat colors. With the terrain section completed, I'm starting my work on the clone bunker, more specifically its layout. I want to have 2 main rooms separated by a rounded entrance in the middle. Now I'm placing a simple floor pattern. After that I'm preparing the layout and design of the second room, for which I'm making this textured side wall with some dark grey piping. On the other side I'm building the support wall with stats on the side, so I will be able to attach the rock formations to them later. This is where I slide in the mini component that will finish the design of the door. Let's put some tiles in this short and satisfying time-lapse. It's time to work on the outer shell of the bunker, which I'm going to build using side building technique. Now I need to build a few smaller components of the armored shell that will go in between main pillars, that I will create in a similar manner to the first element, but with a nice dark red finish which is fitting as a color accent for the Republic structures. I mirrored that design to create the final pillar for the outer shell, which now needs to be connected together, and to do so I'll use these exposed clips to nicely attach everything and create seamless, well-rounded armor. Let's connect it to the rest of the base, and I'm so happy how great this turned out. Let's finish off the top section so I can make the foundation for the rock work that I'm building using again Snot technique, while crafting as natural looking shapes as possible for this vertical rock formation. I'm continuing this design on the top of the bunker while using some wedge bricks and plates in addition of some tiles. To complete this area I'm adding a small radar and a few crates. It's time for the minifigures. Today there was over 8 hours of building just to create this very first out of 3 clone bases, but it was all worth it, as this turned out great, almost exactly as I pictured it when I was coming up with ideas for these bases. Even the interior space is nicely compact for this scale, and everything has its well designated place on this diorama. Let's move on to day 2, for which I would like to spend less than 8 hours of pure building time. So I have this idea for a clone camp on Seatos, a location you might remember from the Ahsoka series. The story behind this creation would present the clone survivors that are stranded on this planet after a battle in the nearby sector. As for the minifigures of this creation I'm going to use custom Phase 1 clone lieutenant, 1 P1 Recon clone trooper, and 1 P1 Ranger clone trooper. Let's begin with expanding the black frame, so I can prepare walls with stats on the side to attach the big rock formations that will cover the entire visible border of this build. I'm trying my best to shape the rock formations to look as naturally as possible, while also including the different plants growing between the rocks. In this way I hope to create an accurate look to Seatos for this side of the cliff. With similar approach I'm building the other side of the cliff while using various sized wedge pieces combined with slopes and smaller tiles or plates. I'm very happy with this result, especially all these smooth angles and shapes. These rock formations took a bit of time, so now a small break for some blue milk. Yeah, let's return to the building. We need to level up the height of the cliff with the rest of the diorama. To do so, I'm putting together this Technic base structure that, reinforced with regular bricks, will create a solid filler support. Now I'm going to cover this entire area with the terrain of Seatos, so I'll extend the rock formations to seamlessly transition into the deeper parts of the forest. In the lower parts, I'm placing dark red pieces that represent the leaves that fell from the trees. This came out really great, I love this color combo. In the meantime, I designed this simple, a bit weathered tent for our clone troopers, as well as some beds. Overall, I prepared a lot of various accessories that will enrich the camp. Let's place these elements on the diorama, starting with beds, this weird device and our futuristic tent with visible wear. Here I'm preparing the main tree trunk that will be accompanied by this smaller tree. For the main tree I prepared this tree crown which came out so well. Definitely my favorite tree I have ever made. Now I'm placing the campfire, as well as I'm adding previously prepared various accessories and woodblocks. I'm happy to announce the minifigure time. So after almost 6 hours of building today, this second out of 3 clone bases is ready, and I managed to save some time for my sanity and still create a really unique and colorful Clone Wars diorama. This lively image of the camp with so many little details and the quite complex landscape of Cetos created together a truly fun and well-rounded scene that can tell so many various stories of our own. It's time for day 3. As I have already spent more than 14 hours of just building, what's another, let's say 7 or 8. So today I want to make something for my custom world of Rhinox 5. I have an idea for a tall guard tower and a rock formation, so we'll see how it goes. As for the minifigures of this creation, I'm going to use one Phase 2 clone engineer and 2 Phase 2 clone shock troopers. Let's start with the terrain border around the entire diorama, as well as some filler brick to level up the base for the future landscape, which I'm going to form by using various tiles, plates and wedge plates in mostly dark green color, mixed with dark grey and some bits of olive green. While finishing the landscape, I left a spot in the terrain for the guard tower, which I'll start by making an inner support structure that will allow me to build on 4 sides of it. So let's build the front part, where I want to put a small staircase leading into the entrance with a closed door. As for the front top section, I'm creating this dark grey texture with the Republic symbol, as well as I'm building up the armored walls with rectangular windows so the troopers can control the horizon. I will combine this element with the previously created section to make a coherent design. I mirrored it to make the second panel for the back section, but here instead of the doors I will attach some panels and different details. Let's quickly return to the inner structure, for which I need to make side panels with Republic symbols. What's left to do is a small top section so I can attach these larger components together. To create it I'm using some brackets and side building technique. Now with all these sections ready, we can finally combine them together to create a seamless design for the guard tower that I'll attach to the previously prepared spot on the diorama. In the meantime, and after some much needed break, I created this rock formation off camera to complement the landscape. Let's add some crates, boxes, our rock formation, as well as some vegetation to the scene. And happily it's time for the minifigures. Wow, we have made it, the final day with just 7 hours of building to get this really cool effect. The guard tower turned out so well, as well as this landscape packed with details, textures and vegetation. This diorama is a very welcome addition to the Rhinox 5 collection, that will expand one more time later this year, but that's something for another day. If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to check out the next one, visible on the screen. See you soon!